Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of another Dime In The Jukebox. Today, my guest is an LA based multi instrumentalist, singer songwriter, and the bassist for a Jerry Garcia tribute band called Jerry's Middle Finger, Convo. Thank you so much for being on my show.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, so you were born in Saigon, but you were raised in Harrison, Maine. What
That is,
year did you migrate to the States?
when did I migrate to the States?
Yes. What year?
I migrated in 1975, or right around about 10 days before the war ended.
Mhm.
I was lucky enough to escape, if you will. It was, uh, it was quite the scene, in fact. My stepfather had gotten expedition papers signed by by Henry Kissinger back
Mhm.
in the time, and that was the only reason why I was able to get out of the United States. My sister and I, to be specific, in time. Otherwise, we would have been trapped there,
Nice.
and this would be a very different story.
Yeah, I bet. And how old were you?
I was 4 years old because I was born in 71, 70. Yeah, I just turned 4 years old, like in
I see.
January.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at what age did you decide to become a musician and why?
Well, when I decided to become a musician, I'd say age 14. Uh, when I was forced to be a musician was age 8,
Oh,
learning the piano because I had to learn the piano and practice an hour every day, like almost every kid. So many kids are forced to, and I'm I'm actually thankful that happened. But when I decided was at age 14 when I wanted to learn drums. Um, I was just completely obsessed with wanting to learn the drum set, and so I did, and I practiced fervently. I had a jazz drum uh, teacher by the name of what's his name? Tim. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name at the time, but I was it Tim Sims. Anyways, yeah, he was just this jazz great, and he taught me jazz and Latin, and just the formal and also drum corps. Uh, and from there, I just kind of developed as a drummer. And after that is when I started learning other instruments. But yeah, that's when I decided I wanted to do this for the rest of my life.
I see. So, yeah, you wanted to become a drummer at the age of 14. And
Yeah.
what exactly sparked that passion, like at that age specifically? Was there a specific song by a certain band that you heard that you just loved? Like, what?
I think it was I think it was almost out of a rebellious thing
Hmm,
of everybody else was learning guitar, boring stuff or violin. I was like, I don't know, or piano. I was like, I don't want to learn that. I want to learn something that's cool. And, and I was kind of a nerd, I had these just plastic glasses. I mean, I was a complete nerd, and I just moved to this new high school and I was like, oh my God, this is gonna suck. So I just wanted something cool. And then once I realized like this is really awesome and just something went in me. And then I think what changed me is once I heard Led Zeppelin, I was like, done. Like, that's it. I heard Led Zeppelin's album, and then I heard um, The Police, Regarded a Blanc, Outlandos D'Amour, Zeppelin 1, House of the Holy, done. I was like, that's it. I'm a musician.
hmm. Like that. Besides, like when you were 14, it must have been like what, mid 80s, like 1985 or so.
Yeah, that's right around it. Yeah, about
Yeah.
1980. Yeah, 80, yeah, 85, 86. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was practicing up in the attic and I would practice, it was kind of funny because I would get home. I played soccer, but I sucked. Um, and then I'd get home and I'd practice for 2 3 hours. I hardly ever did my homework. Somehow I was an A B C student, um, because I hardly ever did my homework because I always practice. And then in the summertime I would practice 6 to 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours a day, obsessively, over and over again. Um, practicing drum, Latin beats, jazz beats, learning all kinds of music. But a lot of it was basically Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, and the Police. That's and the Talking Heads. That's what I listen to over and over again in my tape deck, and sometimes BB King,
I
and
see.
then I started listening to the Beatles. That's when everything changed.
Yeah, so like your taste was like a little bit you like music that was a bit older because I was just like gonna say like mid 80s, that's like around the time when like hair metal was really popular, like Motley Crue, Poison,
Absolutely,
Van
absolutely.
Halen, and
Yeah,
yeah.
that's correct. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so were you ever into that kind of music, or were you mostly just like in the bands into the bands that you just listed?
Well, I mean, I was mostly into the bands I listened to, but I listened to a lot of stuff because a lot of my friends actually. It's funny because I hung out with a bunch of metalheads. That's what's kind of funny. We called them the tree people, at school because they used to hang out under the trees across the high school, smoking the cigarettes like this.
Yeah, I was just
And,
about
and,
to ask, why did you call them street people? That's
yeah, they'd hang out underneath the trees, and then they'd be like this, fucking. Every other word was fucking. We went out last night and fucking hung out at JP's and smoked a couple bones and fucking. It was just so funny, and they'd smoke the cigarettes like they were smoking joints. And they had a Dawkins. Actually, there was a White Snake, Dawkins. I mean, you name it. Then there was the Pantera people, Metallica. And they split the metal bands from the real hardcore like speed metal guys. The Pantera and Metallica guys did not like the White Snake guys. Like fuck them, fucking. Just it. So it was kind of funny. There was like a little, and then I hung out with a lot of people that liked AC/DC, and because I mean that was kind of what I liked too, because I was like, if you can do rock and roll, do it AC/DC like style, or I mean I can name so many others, but that was kind of my crowd. So I definitely wasn't against it, just didn't listen to it that much.
Yeah, you weren't really like all that into it, like especially during the time when it was so popular. Like I love 80s music,
Yeah,
like especially 80s hair metal.
yeah,
I used to listen to it a lot, like throughout
yeah,
my mid to late 20s, I'd say. So
hmm,
right now, I think that I might want to move on to something else, but because I listened to it so much up until like
yeah,
this specific point, it got a little bit old. But I mean, doesn't necessarily mean it does definitely doesn't mean that I don't love that kind of music anymore. But yeah, and I'm not that big of a Police fan, even though I do love Sting. Like I do love his
yeah,
music.
yeah.
But what year did they come out? Like what year did their first album come out?
I think it was like, oh, geez, it's terrible that I don't remember, but it was like right in that weird, I think like 79,
Oh,
was it? The police outland, was it Regatta de Blanc? I think it was 79, 1980, right in that area.
oh
And
yeah.
actually, I hadn't known about them. That had been out already by the time I liked them. I think they had already come out with like every breath you take,
Hmm.
every move you make, that song.
Yeah, I do know
That,
that. Yeah,
and I believe that they won the album of the year. And so by the time I'd gotten into them, they'd been already like 5 years in it. Um, so I like the first two albums the best.
I see.
Because to me that was like I was studying Stuart Copeland's drumming, and I was like, what the fucking hell is this guy? Because he did that reggae with rock, and with also kind of the punk rock thing, and I just really kind of dug that. Because there was that other element too, where I would actually listen to Dead Kennedys, yeah, which is kind of funny. You wouldn't think it, but I just kind of liked it. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, that's another band that I need to check out. Can you name like one of their songs? Because I'm pretty sure that I have listened to at least one of their songs at some point.
oh, Jesus, oh my God, it's been so long. Vacation in Cambodia, I believe, and I think that was a really popular album. Uh, and I used to draw the DK. I would actually scratch it on the desk all the time. Along with all the other kids, we used to scratch it. DK everywhere.
I see.
That's about the only thing I can remember right now.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't really sound familiar. So yeah, another band that I need to check out, and I will. Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah, it's just that at the moment I'm kind of taking a break from like even listening to music at all and like not just checking out new bands because like I have had like my friends telling me over the years to like check out this, check out that. And eventually
Yeah.
I started uh like I don't really know how to describe it. Like I kind of sort of became like immune to it. It's like you're listening to something, but it's not like causing any kind of reaction. So I'm guessing that I just need to take
Oh,
a break from like listening to music at all right now, and then go
yeah,
back to
yeah.
music, and hopefully it will, you know, um, spark
You
some
want to
kind of reaction
you
or
want you want to find something that inspires you, or you get an oh, like an oh my, what is this kind of feeling?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
exactly what
get
I'm
it.
looking for because I think that it's just that over the past like I don't know, like 8 years since I was
Yeah,
since I was 24. Like that's exactly when I started checking out a whole bunch of like new stuff, a lot of music that I haven't listened to before. That was
yeah,
when I got really into like the 70s, 80s, and well, actually the 80s and the 90s music especially. Like that's what I love to listen to in my mid 20s.
yeah,
And yeah, like over the past few years, I was listening to a lot of other stuff like my friends' local LA bands that I go
yeah.
to live. I listen to their stuff on Spotify. It's just it's a lot, and I just think that maybe I need to take a little break and then hopefully find something that will like inspire me again and like spark that interest again. You know?
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely get it. Yep.
Yes, and hopefully that break will work.
I've taken, it's interesting because I've done the same thing where actually I I don't listen to music a lot now. I just listen to NPR. Because I maybe because I play so much music, I don't know. And now and then I'll listen to certain songs that I'm like, oh wow, who's that? But yeah, there's a lot that yeah, it doesn't really inspire me too much. And then I get kind of tired of listening to the same stuff I've listened to for decades. So I'm like, yeah, I just rather, I don't know, listen to NPR. It's a horrible thing to say,
Well,
but
actually, no, no, no. It's definitely not
but
horrible. I mean, that actually got me thinking maybe I should check out some podcasts because, like, I am trying to get a podcast going
yeah,
here right now, and I don't even listen to podcasts myself. So maybe that's like
yeah,
something that I should check out. So yeah,
yeah,
we just came up with an idea right there.
yeah. And I mean, there are other older bands that like I consider that I should probably study more too. That I've thought, like more David Bowie because there's so many albums and the Kinks, bands like that that were so prolific. They had so many freaking albums, and I still don't know much about them. And as well as like somebody like Elvis Costello. But the problem is his his voice bugs the piss out of me. So it's really hard for me to listen to him. But he's so prolific, But somebody like the Kinks, I dug, and I hate saying somebody like REO Speedwagon, I loved because they're so poppy, but they're such good songwriters. And you see crap like that, and then Prince can be overwhelming. Only
I
I'm
never
kind
really
of into
cared much for
Prince.
Prince's voice. Like honestly, I was never really that big a fan. Um, so yeah, I have like really absolutely no interest in checking him out. But I don't know something that I would be more interested in checking out. That would be the Kinks because I loved All Day
Yes.
and All Night. Like a few years back, I remember when I first heard that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to listen to like a whole bunch of like 90s, 80s, 90s music mixes, and All Day and All Night would
Yeah.
come up a few
Yeah.
times, and I absolutely love that song. I
Yeah.
was like, way too lazy, or maybe my attention was just like grabbed by some other artists to like really check
Yeah.
out the rest of their stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I should totally do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, they would be one of the few bands, besides Bowie, of course, and that I would consider. I mean, almost every single one. I believe every single one of them was not only a singer but a songwriter, just freaking prolific, and great songwriters and really good singers and kind of funny. They have funny lyrics. Just they're. I don't know. They're just. I think they're underrated, and they get overlooked by somebody like the Stones, who, by the way, I was never really the biggest fan of the Stones, and I don't know why. I mean, I like them, but I was never like, oh, awesome, got to fucking put on the Stones, you know. I was never that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Was more like, I'm gonna listen to Abbey Road for 2 days, and then go to dark, not Dark Side of the Moon, but like I was obsessed with Pink Floyd Animals. That album, that's to me one of my favorite albums ever, still to this day. It's
Yeah,
kind of
there
where I
was,
came from.
yeah, there's still so many bands that I need to check out. Like with Rolling Stones, I
Yeah,
first discovered them, like really discovered them when I was about 25. I'd say that's
yeah,
when I first listened to Start Me Up, Beast of Burden. Let's see, what else?
yeah.
Can't think of anything else, but yeah, like I should definitely also listen to their stuff. Um,
And something like Exile on Main Street, that's a great one. I mean, that's to me like
uh,
that's the quintessential, you know.
Yeah, well, hopefully after I'm finished taking this break from like not listening to anything, like it
Yeah,
will start again because like
yeah.
um yeah.
I think that's a good thing to do too. To just give your ears a break and just let it happen naturally. There's no rush. I don't think I would. You know, you just do it when you're inspired. I mean, in that way, something just you can be walking around, you hear something, as you're walking around somewhere, like, what the hell is that? That's the beautiful thing about that. You can hear music out of nowhere.
That's definitely good advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started with piano lessons at age 7, was it you said? And by the time when you were in your mid 20s, you knew how to sing and also play the drums, bass, and guitar. And
Mm,
so you said that you learned the drums when you were 14. And at
yeah.
what age did you start learning how to play guitar and how to sing?
Right around I moved to New York City. I actually moved to Queens when I was 18,
Hmm.
and it was right before that. I'd lived on Peaks Island in Portland, Maine, and I was playing with this band. Well, actually, my first band was called Low Tolerance, um, and I was actually the drummer. And I had a dream that Bob Dylan taught me the piano. I mean, and I had a dream. And I went in and he was like, I was like, hey, so how do you write? I said, how do you write music? He's like, well, it's easy, man. He's like, first you do this and do that, and and I was like, oh my god, and I remembered it, and so I woke up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna remember what he said, and I did, and it was just like a eureka moment. And after that, I started really that opened me up to started start singing. And so since I was able to start writing songs now, it was just this explosion in my head of just like, and I just started singing along with playing piano obsessively for hours and hours and hours, as much time as I can do during the day. And when I wasn't in front of an instrument, I would just bring tapes along to my jobs, odd jobs I would have. Where let's see, I had a job for months and months. Like I was the laundry guy at this hotel, which was great because I could put on the Beatles tapes and sing along to them for hours, and it was just kind of funny to just sing, wherever you were. And so and then I would go home as well, certain times, sing and tape myself, listen to it and say, "Oh shit," you got to work on this, work on that, and so I mean, half of it is record yourself singing, so as you can learn from your mistakes and improve upon it. So, and I did that for years, and hopefully, I would like to consider myself a good singer because of that. So that's where that began. Yeah, so right around 18. So I'd say my most formative years were 18 to 20, actually 26, 24, where I was just really learning to sing, making sure that I could sing really well. And then after that, was able to really start playing out in bands and gigging.
I see. And what about guitar? When did you start learning that
Oh,
again?
guitar I learned in New York City when I moved to
Oh,
Queens.
I see.
I'm sorry, I digressed as
Yeah.
well. So yeah, I was living with a friend of mine in Queens, and there was no piano. So I was like, well, I got to write songs. And so there was this little chart he had of 24 chords. And I just went through that, with his guitar, and I obsessed over it for months and months and months. And that was my um, foundation. And from there, I was like, hey, this is great. And then I just started making up my own charts to learn new scales and stuff. Because I'd known piano chords and had those years of studying piano, I understood theory as that I could transpose over to the guitar. So it was I mean it was a lot of practice and it still is, but it made it easier the transition from one instrument to the other.
Mm. I see. Yeah. Yeah. I remember when I first tried to learn. I first tried to learn how to play guitar when I was about 16,
Yeah.
and I think that I like fiddled around with it for maybe a few months before I just got bored with it. Like I tried to learn how to play, but I just don't think it was for me.
Yeah.
Took voice lessons when I was in high school. I started when I was 15. And
Mm,
then
mm.
my junior and senior years, we moved to a different state. We moved to New Jersey. So I had to leave
Ooh,
my voice teacher behind. But we
yeah.
did have a choir that I went to. I mean, technically speaking, when I was singing at the church choir when I was in high school, it didn't really teach me anything per
Mm,
se because like they didn't like they never give you, you know how like when you sing in the choir, especially in church, I don't think that they never give you any exercises. They never tell you like what you can do to improve yourself. It's not like voice lessons. Like you basically
no,
you're standing there and singing, and that's not the way to go.
no.
And mm, and then it wasn't until later when I was 25 and I was living in LA
Yeah.
for like, how long has it been? Like yes, 7 years at that
Yeah.
point because I moved here for college when I was 18. I started
Yeah.
taking voice lessons here again, and
Yeah.
it just went so much better because the direction is just like it's
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Having
Yeah.
voice lessons is definitely better than singing in a church choir if you want to learn how to sing. So
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's funny. Yeah, I think my first I actually had a um vocal solo when I was in sixth grade.
mhm,
I forgot. I sang "Where Is Love." I put by that musical Oliver. That was my first experience of singing. I had beat out all the girls because I had the best high voice. I had no idea. I was just. They asked me to do an audition. I was like, and so I was like, I'll do it. You know, and I beat all the girls. And so, well, I mean, Oliver's a guy, kid, boy. So it's like, but I was able to sing the high notes. And I guess I had, apparently, I had a natural voice back then. I didn't know it. And then after that, I did the thing, like you did. I did boys chorus in junior high, and then after that, I did shit for during high school. Um, I did play jazz drums in high school, I believe in 10th grade. I was the guy that they chose for, but anyways, I digress. But that was the early years of my vocals. I forgot about that. I had to point at that
yeah.
in.
Um, okay, and so anyway, next question. So you played in a bunch of different bands on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm assuming like after you moved to New York when you were 18, right? So how old were you when you played in your first band, and how did you end up playing? Like, what was the story there?
Actually, well, my first band was yeah, not, was the Low Tolerance when I was 17. And that was just like we had won this because it was all my friends were in high school, and actually I had quit high school. I had quit high school by then, and I was living with my roommate who was in high school in Portland High. And he said, "Hey, let's let's do this rock off 88." And that gave us and we placed second above this other band from Cape Elizabeth. But that gave us we made it into the album, so we were able to record two of our original songs. So that was my first band, and then we played our first gig some place like Gardner, Maine, in some VFW hall. So that was my first experience uh,
I see.
uh, as a band.
Yeah, and this was like before you moved to New York, and you
Yeah,
were living in Maine then, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And believe it or not, there was a long period where I didn't play because after that I had moved to Wisconsin at 19. Then I moved back to Portland, Maine. So between the age of right around there, 17, 18. So it's about a year and a half. I wasn't really playing in any bands. And then I started 18, 19, 20, maybe 2 years. Um, and then I began, yeah, up until I was age 20. That's right. Then I started my own band called Dow Jones, Taojones. And that was a three piece. And that's when things started happening. I was still underage, so I had to have a guardian come with me
Oh, oh yeah, because like,
to play at the gigs. For just this little period of time for about 6 months, I needed a guardian.
well,
I
at
was
least you got to play. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
honestly, it's, I guess that when you were like, what, 20?
yeah,
Yeah, so I guess that it can be a bit embarrassing if like if you need a guardian to
yeah,
like have to for them to let you get into the bar.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, as long as you got to play,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't care. I was like, hey, you want to come for me? Great, good, because I just want to play. Yeah, and so that was kind of where yeah, Raoul's Roadside Attraction, and that was a pretty cool club. Um, so yeah, so that was really my first really foray into playing live, yeah, as a three piece, and it was pretty powerful. We're pretty badass, if I do say so myself.
Hmm, I see. So what was your favorite experience about being a part of a band when you played in Maine, like basically before you moved to Venice?
What was my theoretical experience?
Oh, favorite
Oh,
experience.
favorite experience. Oh, geez. There was this one place where we would play. Where was it? This probably my favorite experience was I we had decided to do go up and play a few songs. They would give this one night where they would give bands a chance to play a few songs, and our band Dow Jones. This was when I just finally turned 21.
Mhm.
And it was called the Wrong Brothers. That's what the club was called, and they had wow, what was it, 50 cent beers on and so the place would just be freaking packed. People just getting hammered. And we're talking Maine, so it's a bunch of just like like that. It's not city boys. We're talking country boys, kind of. Just like like just just rock and roll. I don't know, just kind of hicks, but still they love rock music, and so we got to play this. I got to play this once. We played. I did this song. Was it? Do you feel like I do? Do you feel like I do? And it because it's a theme song, and just something about the whole goddamn room started singing with me, and just it was you almost felt like you were in a movie, like all these guys were looking at you like
Uh-huh.
oh my god, they're gonna fucking pull this off, and we pulled off, and everybody's like when the solo came up, and it was just a memorable experience. And then after that, I pulled off one of my original songs, and the crowd just went apeshit because it sounded like an AC/DC song, and they just they just lost their shit. And so it was just one of those, like, it felt like you were in a movie.
Uh-huh.
So I would say that was kind of one of my most memorable experiences as a kid.
Okay, so yes, you were talking about like some of your favorite experiences of being in the band, like when you were still playing in Maine and before you moved to Venice. So, like my next question is, what year did you move to Venice, and how old were you?
I was 24. I moved to Venice in October 10th, 1995.
I see. Okay. Yes, mid 90s. And after you moved to California, to Venice,
Yes.
you gained a lot of experience performing and you produced a lot of shows. You were in bands called Mother Jones and Freshly Baked.
Yes.
Okay. And what other bands did you perform with?
Oh, geez. I'd say by the time it was like 97, 90. Let me backtrack here because I was in Freshly Baked. Well, first I was trying to do an original project from 95 to 96. That failed. 96 to about 2001, I was with Freshly Baked. We're touring all over the place. We recorded 3 albums, then Mother Jones. Then right around about 2005, 2006, I was also playing in a weekly band called Cow Space.
Mhm.
In we play at Brennan's Pub every Wednesday. Um, and then I would hire myself out at that time as a bass player by God knows who. There's also Stone Soul. I played with them. They're
Mhm.
actually still around. They do Motown music. I
Really?
play with some jazz ensembles that hired me for jazz music. Played in some wedding bands. I honestly I don't even remember some of these names because I was just a hired gun. Um, uh, and some other just pickup musician friends that were really just really good musicians. Older guys than me because I was probably by then what in my mid 30s, and these guys were probably in their 60s, late 50s, but they were hiring me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll play with you. You guys have more experience than me, and so I can learn from that."
Well, yeah, I bet. What was that one band name that you listed against Stone something that you
Oh,
said?
Stone Soul,
Stone
yeah,
Soul.
that's a hit band. Yeah, they're still around. They're actually about to, if not, they're about to embark on 2 months of just tons of shows for about 20 days, 20 shows in 2 months. Yeah, they have a lot of shows coming up. They're a great band, Motown band.
Yeah, yeah. I just checked them out, and hopefully, I'll get to see them play.
Yeah,
Some.
they're the real deal. They're hot shit. Yeah. Actually, their bass player, David Abercrombie, he used to play in my band, Mother Jones. He was the bassist for the first, second album and the first half of the first album. I mean, half of the first album and the entire second album.
Hmm, I
He
see.
was the shit.
That's really
As good
cool.
as
I
it
should.
gets. He actually inspired me to really be dedicate myself to being a bass player because I saw just how good he was, and I chose I that was my motivation.
Mhm. I see. Yeah, well, I should definitely check them out then.
Yeah,
Yeah, hopefully they'll play somewhere in Venice. Yeah, I should go to West. It's been a while since I've been there. Actually,
yeah,
I believe that Jerry's Middle Finger played
yeah.
at the West
Yes,
recently, right?
and I believe we are about to play Venice West. I in a couple weeks. I should look it up. Do you want me to check it out? The dates?
Yeah,
Mm,
absolutely.
Let me check it out here. Let me see. We are playing Venice West.
I hope it's not on the 31st though, because a friend of mine is going to be
No,
doing a gig at the Mint.
you're lucky for you. We are not. We're playing June 7th and June 8th at the Venice West
Oh,
on a
nice.
Friday night and a Saturday night coming up.
Okay.
So that's yeah, I believe what in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's actually really close to my birthday. Yeah, so June
Oh,
7th.
that's awesome.
You said yeah,
I'll
because
put you on the guest list. I'm serious. I'll put you on the guest list. Let me know.
oh yeah, absolutely. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm gonna put it on the calendar right now.
And that's recorded.
And so, so you were also a producer during that time, like when you first moved to Venice. Which artists did you produce, and how did you become about being a producer?
You know, that's a long, I would call that the long game. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I started learning how to produce with Freshly Baked uh, just by recording and learning how the band leader was doing stuff and taking bits and parts that I liked and didn't like. And then when I came into Mother Jones, that's when I was really able to start producing because in arranging music because we're going to really we recorded our albums, the first 2 albums at Paramount
Mhm.
recording studios in Hollywood, which is very prestigious,
It does sound
famous.
prestigious,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, uh, some of the best bands have recorded there. So we decided, we wanted it to be all 2-inch analog as well. We wanted to be the best, and that's what we got. Um, After that, I started just recording my own music as well and learning how to record music at home, and it's arduous task, very humbling. And then I started, I felt that I was becoming better, I started asking other artists if they wanted to be recorded, because they trusted my instincts, they trusted my sensibilities. They also knew that I was very good at live sound, and from that's where my reputation, I was able to build upon that. And from there I was producing other independent artists out here. Currently I'm mixing this band called Soul Soiree, which is, to me, I feel very good about them. They're very, very, just very cool. They have kind of a Latin vibe, but very, jam band. Um, and there's a very sultry singer who she's just fantastic. They're a band to look out for. I believe so. I'm honored to be asked to be their mixer. Uh, and I should actually refine that. I'm not their producer. I'm their mixer.
I see. Okay. And what's
Yeah.
what are you called again?
Soul Soiree.
Oh,
Even though you, even though, as it's a really fine line when you're a mixer, because you're making choices that they aren't, or that you aren't asking them. You aren't
uh,
asking the artist. You're going ahead and making your own choices, hoping that they like what you're doing to the songs. And 98% of what I do, they like. So
uh-huh.
obviously you're doing something right.
Okay. Okay. Well, I will definitely check them out. Okay. So my next question is, hmm, oh yeah. So what clubs did you play at when you first moved to Venice? And what were some of your favorite venues out of all of the ones that you played at?
Oh, geez. We began in some shitty places. Uh, but some fun places do have, of course, it was 14 Below, which was the, I, I missed that place. That was the quintessential club here in Santa Monica. That I just loved. That was one of the places I played. Absolutely loved it. Um, then there's places like the Mint, of course, that I played. There's some places like in Hollywood, like the Key Club. Actually, I like that a lot. I don't know if that's around anymore.
I don't
Then there
think it
was,
is. No, I would have heard of it. I
yeah, I
it probably
think,
closed down at some point.
yeah, I don't think it is anymore. That was a really good place. And then of course there was BB. It was House of Blues. I played there a couple times. Boy, I love that place. It's too bad that's not around anymore. Um, and then there's just so many small clubs. I wish my brain could work right now. There's just so many small clubs that we just played. Like, what was that place in Hollywood? Was it the Blue Saloon? God, what a piece of shit dive. Um, but yeah, hey. There was also a cool place called Anastasia's Asylum back in the day. That was cool. That used to have a lot of indie artists, and acoustic, before it was called Americana, or indie acoustic. I don't know. That's where the cool indie music was played by really talented artists. Yeah, that's a few of them.
I see. Yeah, sounds like most of those places are closed already. Yeah, like
There's a lot of close places, except for say the Mint. That's about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, I wonder what year they built up the Venice West at. It's pretty much the only club that I've been to in Venice.
Yeah.
To this place called Bigfoot West once, because like it's pretty close to the School of Rock in Venice where I used to take my voice lessons up
Oh
until
yeah.
yeah, like just like this past
Yeah.
January. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely quite a few clubs that like I have been going to for years, but yet like so many places have closed down. Like it's just like
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, there were other clubs I played, like down at South Bay, like the Lighthouse in Manhattan Beach, a Starboard Attitude, which I still play at.
Oh.
Actually, those two places, and they are actually still around. But when I wish I remembered what the name of the club was before it was Venice West, but they had been there for quite some time. I believe a couple of decades, since the '70s. I could be wrong. Don't don't quote me on that. But at least the '80s, there's a lot of live music there. A lot of it's like one of those like the artists would play there.
Mhm.
It wasn't uncommon if Jackson Brown came and
Mhm.
played with some other famous artists that lived in Venice, and, Peter Tork from the Monkees, or just people
Oh
like
wow.
that. You had famous artists that would play like that. Yeah, it was cool. Really hit place.
I bet.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that they've revitalized it there in Venice West. Yeah, and I think they have certain nights where they play different kinds of music, so that's really cool too.
Mhm. Yeah, I should definitely check it out more. I have only been to the Venice West once, and that was for my birthday last year. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna go and see you guys play there on June. You said
Excellent. Yeah,
8th?
you
Yeah,
get to see a lot of hippies, the hippie world, the
that's true.
the deadheads, and the I consider them some of the kindest fans out there, as good of people as you can ask for.
The club has a really nice atmosphere, though. Like, remember, I really like that about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
Yep.
should definitely, yeah, I should definitely visit that more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, my next question is, for a while, you recorded your own songs at home on your own, and you
Yes.
played all the parts. When did you start doing that?
Oh, geez. What, 10, 12 years ago, I'd say. Um,
Hmm.
I started, let me rewind my brain here. Yeah, I started learn seriously dedicating myself to learning how to mix my own music and reproduce, um, and just learning the art. Oh my God. Yeah, I'd say about 12 years ago when I was living on 20th Street, 20th and Ocean Park, where we were neighbors
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, like I
with
definitely
Louis.
remember. Yeah, and that was
Oh,
like you said, like 10, 12 years ago. That was actually right at the time when I
yeah,
moved there. Yeah, because
yeah,
my mother, she moved to that place in
yep,
like 2012,
yep,
and then a couple of years later, I joined her there. And like
yeah,
honestly, I love that place. Like I
yeah,
still visit Santa Monica frequently because I mean I live in Brentwood, so it's not that far. It's like practically
yeah,
right next door.
yeah.
So yeah, like it was definitely a really nice place to live at. Like it's quiet, the streets are clean,
Oh,
and
yes. I miss that place, but he was so teeny for the two of us. Yeah. But
yeah.
that's where I learned to record, and that's when, I even got a job for a while, writing music for Duck Dynasty. They had an offshoot show, before it was something like before Duck Dynasty, I forget. But I got to write about 14 songs for them, instrumentals for them. That's when I really, that once I'd gotten about 3 4 years of recording under my belt, and then I got hired to do this, and that really like pushed me to learn how to record and
Oh my
mix.
goodness.
And because I was forced, I had to write 2.5 minute songs for them, and that's where you're forced to, you learn the construction of how, uh, that music for television works. So that was a big learning curve for me. I learned a lot.
Dynasty. Isn't that um? So you mean the TV show with Elizabeth Gillies, or is it a different one? Because like the Dynasty that I'm thinking of.
Duck Dynasty,
Yeah.
Duck Dynasty. All I know is just that hick show with people, fake people with big beards hunting for ducks,
Oh, you mean
selling
oh
selling
Duck
selling duck
Dynasty.
stuff.
Oh, okay.
That stupid hick
Oh,
show
I see. Oh, yeah. I
with
just
all that country music, but so I was writing silly country music
uh
for them, silly country instrumentals that were, but it was fun. It was really fun.
yeah. I just looked it up, and yeah, I have never heard of it before or seen it, but yeah, I just see here that the
Yeah, you don't need to watch it.
yeah, well,
You're not missing anything. No offense to anybody. Sorry if anybody that likes their Duck Dynasty, just not my preference.
okay. So, like in your bio, it said that your favorite part of recording solo is the fact that it gives you an opportunity to like really go really deep into the music when you're learning how to mix it all together. And so, like besides that, what made you start recording solo, and how else was it better than being in a band? Like was how else was it better than being in a band?
It's a great question. It's a really, really good question.
Yeah.
Um, there was a couple factors involved. First factor is money,
Mhm.
the economics of everything. Second factor is total artistic control of your ideas. Nobody's going to question you with when you have an idea and you want that idea. It's going to be kept. It's not somebody else, you know, isn't going to say, well, I kind of want to do it this way. When it's your songs, you can have it your way, and also because I'm able to play all the instruments, I know how I want it to sound. Uh, um, and also, if you make a mistake, you can keep recording until you get it the way you want it. If it doesn't have an emotional thing, you're not quite there. You can really dig deep. Um, and also, then sometimes accidents happen, and you're like, "Oh my God, I like that. That wasn't meant to be," but you keep it. So there's all those elements involved. And also as you're going along, you also learn to mix better. Um, it's So it's just a win-win situation. And of course, I'm saving a lot of money. Um, of course, also you have to. On the flip side, is it's taking up a lot of your time because you're the one recording every single instrument and singing all your harmonies. Now and then I'd get other people to sing harmonies, but a lot of it was just me.
I see. Yeah, that definitely makes sense because, like, it's like you said, if you have a certain idea, you don't have to negotiate with anyone. Like, you don't have to
No,
waste time doing that. And also, there is absolutely no chance that that idea is going to get rejected because
exactly,
it's only you. You have all the say in what
exactly,
goes into your music.
exactly.
And yeah, so I guess that you said that my the next part of my question was how is recording like everything mixing everything on your own is worse than actually being in a band.
Worse than being in a band.
Yeah.
I miss the interaction. I miss having the jokes. You know, um, a lot of it's just being around the people. And a lot of it is, well, you're not playing all the parts. um,
Yeah, that makes
you can just you can do that, you can do that, and that's and you just sit and you just listen to what they did, and you're like, all right, that's good. And so I miss that a lot, and because everybody has their own personality that they put into it, the way they do it. What I you know what I don't miss is people being late, um, paying for issues that are happening inside the studio, when there's technical issues, um, coordinating, because it's like herding cats, you know, uh, getting musicians together. So I don't miss that at all.
I see.
Um,
Yeah, I'm guessing that especially the you waiting for someone to arrive to the gig part. And I remember reading that in your biography as well, like on your website, how you don't have to wait an hour for someone to get to the gig because like in addition to being in the band, you guys like have like full-time jobs or part-time
yeah,
jobs or like side gigs as well. So
yes.
yeah, that's like well, that definitely makes sense. Okay. And so how long like I don't know if you already answered this question for me, but how long have you been with Jerry's Middle Finger?
Well, let's see. I began playing with them. For I played with them first for about 2.5 years.
Mhm.
Then I left the band for about 2.5 years,
Okay.
and this was during COVID. And then I rejoined the band because the other bass player left.
Mhm.
So I rejoined the band. So that's been 2 years. So I guess you could say 4.5 years I played with the band,
Mhm. I
even
see. And
though,
you joined
yeah,
them, like you said, like about 2.5 years before COVID, so it was like 2017.
yeah, that's about right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because I'd say I was one of the founding members. I was the original bass player. Well, actually, no, I can't say that. They had another bass player where they said no, that this guy's not going to do it, and so they need to get somebody. And so the singer Helena, she was the other singer in my band Mother Jones. She was in the band and she recommended me. And it was funny because the lead guy was like, "Oh no, no." She's like, "No, Helena, we need a bass player." And she's like, "You don't understand. Son's a bass player." No, it's because he was thinking of me more as a multi-instrumentalist, some guy who, records their own stuff and plays. But she's like, "No, he's a bass player. He gets hired to play bass." And they're like, "Okay, all right." And then they hired me like, "Oh, okay, you're a bass player." So I played with them for 2.5 years, and then I just decided to leave. And I guess to add to that, during that time off was probably my most prolific year of recording my own music, from 2019 to 2022.
Mhm.
Really, I recorded so much of my music. A lot of it also had to do with we had moved from Ocean Park to our current place here on 19th and Santa Monica, so I was able to have a dedicated room that I could really focus and just balls to the walls, go for it. So yeah, then I joined Jerry's Middle Finger again as they're escalating, and it's really it's making a name for itself now. So it's been real nice to be a part of it. Well, I came back from a tour last night, or a 2 week tour from the East Coast last night. So it's boy, that was fun to
Yeah.
say the least.
And that definitely brings me to my next question. So you just finished a 2-week East Coast tour with Jerry's Middle Finger. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What cities did you play in? Like what states?
We started. Let's see here. We came in. We came to New Jersey, which is where you became, which is where you lived, right? You said New
I
Jersey.
did live in New Jersey. Yeah, I did
Yeah,
live
yeah,
in.
yeah. So that's actually the yeah. I we flew into New Jersey. Our first gig was Port Chester, um, New York, and then after that was we went to Brooklyn. Then we went to, let's say, oh God, I'm forgetting, but we went to places like, we actually went up to Ontario,
Mhm. Oh
and
wow.
we went, yeah, to play wonderful place. Was Oh geez, I wish I could remember the name, but the was it the Velvet Underground? That's what it was, in Ontario. Great place. That it was actually promoted by Live Nation, and so that was really nice. So and then we went to Pennsylvania. We played there. We played in Philadelphia.
I
We
saw your
played,
cheesesteak posts.
yes, and then we played in Washington D.C. and we also played in Asbury Lanes in New Jersey.
Hmm.
And then we played in Cambridge, Massachusetts as well. Yeah, so that was fun. It was like a big circle, that we went all around. It was fun.
Quite a few places. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we played the 10, yeah, we played 10 shows. Yeah, 10 shows in 13 days. Yeah.
What was your favorite venue to play at and why?
Oh, jeez. That's a tough one. Um, I'd have to say, I'd have to say the Brooklyn Bowl. That was my funnest one. Um, First of all, because it was a what a cool place. What a really cool place. Because they had like 15 lanes bowling to the left of the stage.
Mhm.
And then they had just this really, really nice stage, and just but we had a lot of friends that came. I had quite a few friends that came, and we had quite a few fans that happened to be out there in the East Coast that came.
Mhm.
So we had this whole cadre of fans from the West Coast and also my old friends that I hadn't seen for decades
Oh
that
my
came.
gosh. Yeah, so
And
I
so it was just this wonderful, just mashup uh, uh, of friends, old friends, and fans that came out, and the sound was great. They was just so enthusiastic. They're like, "Yeah, come back, we love you, Jerry's beautiful," you know. So that I'd have to say that was my favorite one. Plus, I
well,
love Brooklyn. I mean, I love New York City. I mean, if I could afford to live out there, I no, 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 I wouldn't because I hate the winters. Never mind.
yeah, that's like the nicest thing about being, well, it's one of the nicest things about being in LA. It's like the weather out here is great. If it ever gets cold, it doesn't get nearly as cold as it does on the East Coast, and it never
Yes,
lasts long.
yes.
That's
God forbid it gets 50 degrees out here.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's
I love it. Thank God for the weather out here.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I'm
like that's
so
exactly
spoiled.
why like I fell. I think that the weather was like one of the um reasons why I first fell in love with the LA when we moved here.
Yes.
Because like honestly, just it's so much better to have
Yes.
warm weather for like most part of the year. And yeah, it has been a really long time since I have been to New York technically before, but the last time I was there, I was like 17. That was more than a decade ago. That was like
Yeah.
10 years ago already. So, um, so obviously, like I don't really remember much about it
Yeah.
other than like the
Yeah.
avenue, but like I don't know if I were to ever travel anywhere, like my number one destination would be Hawaii.
Mm,
So I guess I'm not really that much of like a big city girl. Like I have
yeah.
been to downtown LA, but I always prefer West Hollywood to
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah. I
So,
love West Hollywood.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, the true, yeah, Jerry's Middle Fingers played at the Troubadour a few times.
Mhm.
And that's just a talk about a historic club. I love West Hollywood.
Mhm.
What a great area.
So much history there. Like honestly,
Oh,
the Viper Room, the whiskey, San
yeah.
the Boulevard,
Yep.
Barney's Beanery, like Out Cienega Motel, like all of that stuff. There's like, I have been to West Hollywood countless times, and honestly, it's like it's never boring when I go there.
No, no, it isn't.
Mhm.
It's just cool. I don't know. I just like it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like Hawaii too. I love Hawaii.
Yeah,
I'll tell
like
you, after a while when I'm there, I don't mind it. I do start feeling like, oh my God, I'm on an island. I start feeling like, oh shit, I'm on an island. It's just kind of funny to think of it that way.
I
Because
see that deserted, huh?
I'm sorry.
So you said that like when you're in Hawaii, it feels like you're on an island, and like
Yeah,
all.
yeah, I feel kind of like claustrophobic. I start realizing after about a week, I'm like, oh my God. It's like, how did people live here for a year? Because it would be hard for me, like, oh my God, this is all you got. Um, and it's probably not the best perspective, but that's just kind of you start feeling claustrophobic. Um, for me, it's perfect for vacation. Perfect, beautiful, relaxing, and I've heard a lot of amazing music, live music in Hawaii. Amazing slack key guitar players. I mean, some of the best music I've ever heard in Hawaii. Just amazing singers and slack key guitar players and pedal steel. I mean, lap steel players. Just mind blowing.
I bet. Yeah, well, hopefully, one day soon I'll get there. And guess
Yeah.
what?
Yes,
Um,
you'll love it. You will absolutely love it.
and what was your like? Did you have any favorite moments from that East Coast store you did? Anything like any specific like situations that really like that are really memorable?
I mean, I would say just outside of the Brooklyn Bowl. You know what? My other favorite, one of my favorite moments was visiting Niagara Falls on our day off. We went on Friday. What was it? Tuesday morning or Monday morning? Yeah, Monday morning, and we all went out to Niagara Falls, and I was like, oh my God. So I took a walk right in the morning, woke up at 7:30. I only get like 5, 6 hours of sleep. I always wake up at 7. So I woke up at 7, ate breakfast, walked down to Niagara Falls. I mean, the hotel was just literally just you know, 2/10 of a mile.
Hmm.
And so I walked down there, took video and photos. Then the band got all together. So because there's two sides to the Niagara Falls. So I went to one side, then we drove to the other side. And then I was like, oh my word. So we got to visit that side too. And it just, when you see something like that, it's pretty magnificent. It's pretty mind blowing. The power of nature, the power of water, and you're just seeing it in front of you. You're hearing it, you're feeling it, and you're like, oh my god. So yeah, that was my favorite moment, hands down. Even though it wasn't a musical moment, as a band, I thought that was really cool that we all got to see that because most of us had never been there, me
That definitely
included.
sounds awesome. Honestly, you just talking about it right now made me want to put Niagara Falls on my list of places to travel to.
Do
Because
it.
honestly, like I've always seen it in movies. I've never like seen it in real life or anything, but I
Yeah.
know for a fact that it's a huge waterfall, and I bet that seeing it like in real life should be like pretty amazing.
It when you're so close to it and you see that water going over, that dip, that fall, and you're watching it, you're feeling the power, you're like, oh my God. And so much. I forget what they said, 70,000 gallons. I forget. Was it? Actually, I'm not going to make anything up, but it's a lot of water.
I bet.
And it's just mind blowing. Yeah, it will it will make an impression.
Okay. And my last question for you today is what's next in your agenda? Like, do you have any new music coming up? Are you working on new material? Like, what?
It good question. Again, my my upcoming goals are to become, a mixer for more bands. In that jam band genre, I want to reach out and the younger generation, your generation,
Mhm.
are reaching out to me as I guess an elder statesman, as a mixer, as a mixing guy and as a producer to mix their music because I've kind of gotten to that place where I can finally feel confident enough. And that's kind of my goal for this year is to become that guy, um, for the jam band scene and to give them attention to make their music sound great, and to push it, as well as continuing my travels with Jerry's Middle Finger as that keeps moving forward. Um, and then in between that, I'm just gonna I want to promote my book, Tales of the Mekong Delta Blues Man. So there's that side as well. So those really are the big three things that I really want to do. And of course, I'm always going to produce and record my own music and release it. So that it's a pretty full plate.
Yeah, definitely sounds like it. Well, I will definitely check out your book, and I'm looking forward to hearing you play. I'm guessing I'm probably gonna go to see. I guess I'm probably gonna go to see you play on the 8th. For
Great,
the weekend. Like
excellent.
we'll play it by ear. I'll message
Yeah,
you regarding the.
abs- absolutely. And you know what? Regardless, I'll put you on the guest list. Regardless, I can do you like a plus one.
Uh,
That's I can absolutely do that for you.
yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. Yeah. Hopefully, some of my friends will be able to join.
Yeah.
Like honestly, all of them are really busy most of the time. So
Yep.
whenever I ask someone to go to shows with me, it's like, I mean, unless, uh, yeah, like I said, most of the time my friends are really busy.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, most of them
Yeah.
are musicians. So the only time I ever get to see them is when they're playing a show themselves,
Yes.
and whenever I ask someone to come and hang out with me, they're busy most of the time. So
I Hey, this is Los Angeles. I totally get it. That's
well,
what it's about out here.
okay, well,
Well,
Sam, thank
hey,
you so much. I had an awesome time interviewing you today, and have a great rest of your day.
thank you, and thank you so much for interviewing me. I had a great time. Thank you
I'll
so
do that.
much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you take care. Have a good night. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye bye. Okay, take care. Bye.